Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel AWS DevOps Niche Level. So in this video, we are going to talk about a AWS service named Secrets Manager. And we are also going to do a lab demo on how to retrieve the credentials using the Secrets Manager. So let us go ahead. So what is AWS Secrets Manager? So Secrets Manager is a service which helps you to manage, retrieve, and rotate database credentials, application credentials, auth tokens, API keys, etc. Okay, so if at all you want to have a centralized repository, store the credentials for your databases, to store the secrets for your applications like the API keys, you can go ahead and store them in the Secrets Manager, right? So for what are all the services we can use Secrets Manager? So we can use it for our RDS database. If at all you want to store your database credentials like username and password, you can use Secrets Manager for that. Or if you are using a document DB database and you want to store the secrets for that, you can use Secrets Manager for this as well. If you are using a Redshift cluster, then you can store the credentials for the Redshift cluster in the Secrets Manager, or for the credentials for any other databases. Similarly, for the applications, if you want to store your API keys or the authentication tokens, etc., then you can leverage Secrets Manager for this as well. So I'm quickly touching upon a common interview questions that is typically asked for about the Secrets Manager. I'm not going through all the questions in detail, but just I will cover two questions just to give you a feel about this service. So the first question they will ask you is, what is the Secrets Manager and why is it important for securing sensitive information in a DevOps environment? So Secrets Manager, as we were discussing earlier, it is a service that helps you to protect and manage sensitive information such as the database passwords and API keys. It is essential for DevOps because this will be the key point here. It centralizes the secret storage. It provides you a central repository where you can store your secrets. Another important use case will be enforcing the rotation policies for your secrets. So if at all you want to change the password for your database at regular intervals, let's say every 1 month, every 6 months, you want to have an automatic change of the password without any manual intervention, then you can configure those rotation policies as well in the Secrets Manager. So it's not only just about the secret storage, but you can also enforce automatic rotation of credentials at regular intervals, wherein it facilitates the automatic credential management, right? And ideally enhancing the security and compliance. So these are the primary use cases with the Secrets Manager service. So the second question, they might ask you, what is the concept of the secrets, how the secrets are typically stored in the Secrets Manager, right? In what format? So this will be the answer. A secret in a Secrets Manager is stored as a JSON object. Okay, and the secrets can be stored and managed. Automatic rotation can be configured for the certain types of secrets, right? So the key here is any secret, it is stored as a JSON object. So whenever you are using Secrets Manager, it is important to install a package called as JQ, which is the JSON parser, because it has to extract the data from a JSON store. So you have to install the JQ package as well. So please remember that always the secrets are stored in the JSON format as a JSON object. Now let us directly jump into the lab demo, where we will see the various steps involved in order to use the Secrets Manager service. So these are the instructions that we will follow for the lab demo. So first is, we will go ahead and launch a MySQL RDS in the VPC private subnet, and then we will verify the normal login to the database from the web server, right? And then we will modify the DB configuration to have the credentials managed via the Secrets Manager. So initially, we are going with a normal login procedure, logging in with the username and password. But in the second step, we are going to update the configuration of the database in order to use Secret Manager for the username and password, especially for the password. And post that, we will be updating the credentials, whatever we want in the Secrets Manager. Then we will also install a package called JQ, which is the JSON parsing tool, because the Secrets Manager will store the secrets in a JSON format. So in order to extract the information from the JSON store, we need to install the JSON parsing tool. Typically, it is a JQ package. And after that, we need to create an IAM role with the Secrets Manager read-write permission, which has to be assigned to the EC2 instance, from where we will be accessing our MySQL RDS. So in our case, we will have to assign this permission to the app server, from which we will be accessing the database. Then finally, we have to use the AWS configure in order to configure the region, because we will be using the CLI commands in order to extract the secrets from the Secrets Manager. Then as a last step, we will try to log into the MySQL database, now using the credentials from the Secrets Manager, right? So let us see how to do these steps. So we will go one by one. So I'll start with the first step, like how to launch a MySQL RDS in the VPC private subnet, verify the login to the database. So let me go to my AWS console. So this is my VPC. My VPC is in Mumbai, and I have one web server. Then I have an app server, right? So this is the setup that I have. Okay, so I have a VPC. This is my custom VPC, which is in the Mumbai region. So in this, I have two subnets. So I have a public subnet and I have a private subnet. Okay. So on this public subnet, I have my web server. And on the private subnet, I have my app server. Okay. So here I have a app server. This is my app server. And in the same private subnet, I'm going to launch the database as well, right? So I will say this is my app server. And in this private subnet, I'm going to launch my MySQL database, right? And how do we connect to the database? So typically we are going to connect to the database from the app server, right? First, we will log into the web server, and from there we will log into the app server, and from the app server we are going to connect to the MySQL database endpoint, right? So the first step is we will use a normal process to connect to the database, and the second step is we will be having the app server extracting the credentials from the secrets manager and then connecting to the database. So this will be the second step, where the secrets manager also will be within the same VPC within Mumbai. Or I will just say, secrets manager is somewhere here, right? So the app server, it is going to talk to the secrets manager, right? So it is going to contact the secrets manager with all the needed permissions, and then it will be extracting the credentials from the secrets manager. Okay, so this would be the setup that we are going to have and how we are going to try this lab exercise. So let us go ahead now, and as a first step, I will log into the app server, and then we will set up a MySQL RDS database. So I'll go back to my instructions. Okay, so launch a MySQL RDS in the VPC private subnet and verify the login to the database. So let's go ahead and do that. So here what I will do, I'll search for RDS. and I will click DB instances. I will say create database. And here I will go with the standard create. Then in the engine, I will select MySQL. Engine version, maybe I will leave it to maybe the default version 8.0.35, right? And for what environment I want this setup? Is it for a production or is it for a development or a test environment or a free tier, right? So I want to just go with the free tier option here, right? And the master username. So we have admin as the user. So for our initial login, I'm going to give a normal password. After that only I'm going to save them in the secrets manager. So for now, I will just provide the admin password. Okay, so instance configuration, we can go with this minimal configuration t3.micro. And all others, I'm going with the default options. So publicly accessed database, you can see it is no here, right? Because I want to launch my database within my private subnet. So here I need to make a change. I need to select my non-default VPC. It is this one, my demo VPC, which is having a public subnet and a private subnet. Web server is in a public subnet and app server is in a private subnet, right? And it will automatically assign a subnet group. So the DB public access definitely will be no, right? And so there will be a security group which gets created by default. Password authentication, I think that's all we have with respect to the configuration. We go back and I will just say create database. Okay. So while it is creating the database, we will have the MySQL client, everything ready on our app server, because from there only we are going to connect to the database, right? So as I told you, we have to log into the app server. First, we will log into the web server, right? And from here, we will be logging into the app server. So from web server to app server, and from app server, we will be connecting it to the RDS endpoint, right? Okay, now this is my web server. Let me go ahead and log into this. We check the security group once. We can go on rules. I update my IP. Okay, this is with the setup team where a custom VPC is properly created with all the associated components like the routing tables, the internet gateways, etc. Right? So that setup is already there. So let me now log into the web server. Okay. And for the authentication, I will upload the credentials. We see the key name. Key name is 68, right? Select 68. Okay, I'm not sure if this key is there. Okay, so here are our two instances. We have the web server and we have the app server. right? So we will just check whether the database is in the available state now. Yes, you can see here the MySQL database is ready. Let me click the database and the endpoint, everything is ready here. Okay. So we just need to connect to this database from our app server. Before that, let me also verify the security group for this database. So let me check the inbound rules. You can see that they have allowed the port 3306 from the whole VPC CADR. So I think we should be good. So now what we will do, we will try to log into this RDS endpoint from our app server. So first I will log into my web server, and from there I will log into my app server. We go into the credentials. Okay, let me put in the IP first. All the credentials, and the key name is 13724. And one more thing I will do here, I will also allow the agent forwarding, because we need to forward the keys from the web server to the app server so that the web server can log into the app server without any permission issues. So I will allow this agent forwarding by enabling it here. And I also need to do one more step. So I have a Pagient utility. So I'm going to use that, in which I will be uploading the private key what I'm using to log into the web server, right? And that is a key we will be forwarding it to the app server for the authentication. So let me select that key 372024. Okay. Now let us go ahead and log into the web server. Hi, I'm into the web server now. And from here, we will log into the app server. So SSH EC2 minus user at. So what is the private IP of the app? App server is in the private subnet, right? So we have to log in only with the private IP. Okay, I say yes, yes here. Yes, now you can see. So we are inside the app server. Is the font size a little bit? Okay, so by default, app server will not have connectivity to the outside world, right? If I try to ping any website, ping redux.com, you can see it, there is no response. So we need to have the app server connect to the internet, right? Even it has to talk to the Secrets Manager service, and we have to install the MySQL client, etc. So how do we enable the app server to connect to the internet? So for that, we need to launch a NAT gateway. What I will do is, let me go ahead and launch a NAT gateway. I will go into the VPC. And here I select NAT gateways. So I will say create NAT gateway. I will give it a name. So NAT gateway, we know that it should be generally hosted inside a public subnet, right? So I'm going to select public subnet here. And we need to allocate an elastic IP for the NAT gateway. And let's go ahead and create it. So while the NAT gateway is getting created, we need to edit the route tables for the private subnet, right? So that the traffic can go via the NAT. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll go to the route tables here, and I will select the private route table, and I go into the routes, edit routes. Let me remove the existing configuration. I will add a new route. So the route is, if the destination is internet, that is, if the servers in a private subnet has to reach to the internet, how it has to go? It has to go via the NAT gateway as a target. So here, I will select NAT gateway and click Save Changes. Okay, so now by launching this NAT gateway and editing the route table rules, we have enabled internet connectivity for our private subnet where the app server is there. So now we just need to see whether the NAT gateway is in the ready state. Maybe we can give it a few minutes while it is coming to the ready state. Okay, so now the NAT gateway is in the available state. So we should be able to have the internet connectivity from the private servers now. So let me do a ping rediff.com. Yes, you can see that we are getting a response, right? So we have to install the MySQL client on this machine. So I will say yum install MySQL minus y, right? Because from here only we are going to connect to the RDS database endpoint, right? We need to have the MySQL client, right? MySQL client has been installed. And we also need to install telnet if at all you want to check connectivity to the database endpoint. We can just say yum install telnet minus y. So telnet is installed. Now let us see whether we have the connectivity from this app server to the RDS endpoint, right? So I will say telnet and I will take the endpoint of the RDS. I have to go back to the RDS screen here. So now what is the database endpoint? Here it is. We copy this. So telnet, the endpoint, and what is the port number? 3306, right? Which is open in the security group. Okay, you can see here it is able to connect to the database, right? So connectivity to the database is happening, no issues. Now we will use our usual procedure to connect to the database. So now we are just trying using a normal mode. We have not yet used the secrets manager, which we'll be doing it then as a next step. So now if I want to log into this database, what will be my usual command? So I will say MySQL minus H. H is for the database endpoint. Then I'll be copying my database endpoint, right? This is the database endpoint. Then minus capital P, 3306 is the port, and minus U, the username is admin. Then I will give the uh, minus P option for the password, right? Now it is asking me for the password. So let me give the password. Great. Now I'm inside the database. Okay. So now I used my regular commands using this MySQL client and I was able to talk to the database or I can able to connect to the database, right? Okay. So now this was our first scenario. If I come back to my lab steps, this was our first step where we launched MySQL RDS in a private subnet and we verified the login to the database. Okay. I'm able to log into the database. I can also give some command, show databases, right? And if I give a command Control L, it will clear the screen, right? So we can perform whatever operations that needs to be performed onto the database. So now I'm exiting the database. Now we will try the second step, right? So what is the second step? Modify the DB configuration, right? To have the credentials enabled via the secrets manager. Okay, so now we are updating the DB configuration and telling that now the credentials, especially the password, the username and password has to be managed via secrets manager. So how do we do that? Let us go ahead and do the modify. So this is my database endpoint, right? And I just click modify here. So here you can see under the credentials management, currently we have enabled only self-managed, right? Now I'm going to change that and instead of self-managed, I'm going to enable this option. Managed in AWS Secrets Manager. Most secure RDS generates a password for you and it manages throughout its lifecycle. So in case of a secrets manager, the RDF itself will automatically generate a password for you and the life cycle of the same can be managed. So I'm enabled this one. So rest everything, I'm going to keep it as a default. So let me say continue here. And here I will say immediately, I will click modify DB instance. Okay. So now we have enabled the configuration, which will pick the credentials from the secrets manager in order to log into the database. Okay, so we can also check here the configuration. You can see master username is admin and the master credentials ARN. This is the ARN for the secrets manager, right? Okay, great. So now we can go to the secrets manager. Let me search for secrets manager here. Now we are done with the second step, right? So we have enabled this one, right? First one is done. We verified our normal login procedure. The second one, we have updated the configuration to use the credentials or to manage the credentials via Secrets Manager. So both are done. Now we need to update the credentials in the Secrets Manager. So let me go to the Secrets Manager. This is the one. Okay. So this is the secret name what was created by the RDS, right? And if you want to retrieve the secret value, you can see here, this is the admin and this is the password that it has given it, right? Admin and the password. So we can try to, even if you want to change the password, you can very well change it, right? You can see this option under the plain text, okay? So username is admin and password, maybe if you want to change, I can give some other password. Let's try to change it. Maybe I will say welcome. I don't know if it is going me to change it or not. Here I need to change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me try to make this change to the password. Click save. Okay. Now we will go ahead and update that this secret is managed in the. Okay, you can see here. So basically, if you have not created your own secrets manager, and if you are using the secret, whatever is created by RDS, then we have to go with the same password, right? So it is not allowing me to change the password, I guess. That is the reason it is giving me no problem. So password is only this one. Okay. So we wouldn't be able to change it. That's fine. So we can go with the same set of credentials. Right. So let me go back to my third step here. Third step, update the credentials. We saw that credentials update got failed. Why? Because it is all end-to-end managed by the Secrets Manager service. Okay, now we will come to the fourth step. We will install the JSON parsing tool because in order to extract the or retrieve the credentials from the Secrets Manager, you need this JSON parsing tool because the credentials are stored in a JSON format. Okay, so I'll give the command yum install aq-1. Okay, so this will install the JSON parser. Okay, now the next step is I need to create an IAM role because this EC2 instance, which is app server in this case, should have the necessary permissions in order to talk to the secrets manager and retrieve the credentials, right? So for that, we may have to create an IAM role with a specific permission. So in this case, the permission is secrets manager read write. So let us go ahead and do that. So I will go to the IAM console. So let me create a role here. So this is a role for AWS service and this is a role for the EC2 instance. And I click next. And here I will say secrets manager read write, right? So this is the role that I'm going to allocate it to the EC2 instance. I will say secrets manager custom role, which will be assigned to the instance. And I will say create role. Okay. So now the role has been created. What I will do is I'll go back to my instance, and which is my instance app server, right? From where I'm connecting to the database. So I will go to actions, security, modify the IAM role, and I will say secrets manager custom, right? So this is the role that we created, secrets manager custom, and I will click IAM, update IAM role, right? So that is also done. The step 5 is also done where we created an IAM role with a permission secrets manager read write, and we have allocated that role to the instance, which is app server. Okay. Now, since we need to execute some command line utilities in order to get the retrieve the secrets from the secrets manager, the first thing is you need to do an AWS configure, and then we need to at least update the region to the command line interface. Right? So I don't have any access key ID because anyway we have given the role to the instance directly, right? There is no access key ID or a secret access key. The only input I need to provide is the region name, which is Mumbai in this case. It is AP-South-1. I will say AP South 1. Okay, default output format, we can leave it to JSON. That's it. Now I've done the AWS configure. Now, what we will do, we will try to log into the MySQL DB via credentials from the Secrets Manager. So how to do that? Okay. So for that, I'm going to maybe use a script. Let me just, open that script. Okay. So for that, I have a correct script that we can use in order to, pass some CLA commands for Secrets Manager and get the information from the JSON store, right? So this is a script that I'm going to use. If you can see here, I'm using a variable called as a secrets, and I'm passing the value of the command line output. Basically, I'm using this command, AWS Secrets Manager, get secret value, minus minus the secret ID. I'll have to give the name of the secret, then query string and output the text. So basically, it is going to output the text, the secrets, whatever is stored in the Secrets Manager, right? So that is my first step. Secondly, what I'm doing, I'm basically extracting the value of the username and mapping it to the username variable. Similarly, I'm extracting the value of the password and mapping it to the password variable. Then finally, I'm using this command, MySQL -h, the RDS endpoint, and -u, I'm directly calling the variable, right? $username, and for the password also, I'm just saying directly $password and the port. And this information is typically coming from the Secrets Manager. Okay, so I'm going to use this script in order to manage retrieving the credentials from the Secrets Manager. So now what I will do is I'll have to make one change here. I'll have to update the secret name. So let us see what is the secret name for our Secret Manager. So this is the one. You can see the secret name is here, right? This one. I'm going to update that secret name there in the script. Let me copy this. And here, I'm going to update that with the secret name. Okay. So rest everything will be the same. And here also, maybe I will put our actual endpoint. So I will copy the database endpoint here. Okay. So this will be the final script. So what we will do, I'm going to copy this. I'll be creating one shell script here. This app server, I will say maybe vi secrets manager dot fetch, and then we can directly try to execute the script. So it is going to extract the values, but before that we can even preview how the value of those script will looks like, those commands will looks like. See, for example, the first command we are running this AWS Secrets Manager get secret value, right? So let me just execute this command and see the output. You can see here, it is clearly extracting the credentials from the Secrets Manager. It is saying username is admin and password is this, right? So similarly, if I echo this particular the username, and if I say echo $username, okay, basically I think yeah, that security we have not properly map the value. So let me just execute this whole command. Fine. So now let us execute, or let's check the value for the variable secrets. I will say echo $secrets. You can see it. It is having the username and password. Now let me execute this command. Now I will say echo $username. You can see username is admin. Similarly, I will execute this command and I will say echo $password. You can see the password is here, right? So everything is stored inside a variable and it is all coming from the secrets manager. So now, if I just execute the script straight away, we should be able to connect to the MySQL database. I'll just say sh secrets manager.sh. You can see here, we are directly into the MySQL database. And we didn't enter the password anything manually, right? We used a variable and the credentials was picked up from the secrets manager. Okay. So now I can do anything on the databases. Maybe I can say for databases and Control L will clear the screen, right? And if I give the status command, it will show you what user has logged in and few other parameters about that user, right? For the status command. Okay, so I think this is how you need to use the secrets manager in order to fetch the credentials and then connect to the database using the credentials from the secrets. So this script will be very handy, right? So probably I will be updating this in my GitHub repository. You can take a look. You can use this for your lab purpose. Okay. So I hope this demo on Secrets Manager really helped everyone. So team, if you like this video, you can please uh, maybe hit the like button. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, you can subscribe to my channel. I will keep posting videos on AWS, and recently I started some Azure videos as well, right? So this channel's content will be typically hovering around AWS, DevOps, and Azure. Okay. So yeah, you can feel free to subscribe my channel and share my content to your known circles as well. Okay. So fine team, I think that's all I had for this video, and I will meet you all in my next video. Thank you all.